I called my mom on Thursday afternoon, the excitement bubbling in my chest like champagne. Mom, I just finished packing. I can't believe Amelia's getting married tomorrow. Should I bring the navy dress or the emerald one? The silence on the other end stretched too long. Then she laughed. Not a warm laugh. A confused, almost pitying laugh. Elena, sweetheart, the wedding was last week. You were there, remember? You gave that beautiful toast about sisterhood. My hand went numb around the phone. What? No. No, Mom. The wedding is tomorrow, October 15th. I have the invitation on my fridge. Honey, it's October 14th. The wedding was on the 7th. Are you feeling okay? You've been so stressed with work lately. I hung up. My hands were shaking so hard I nearly dropped my phone. I pulled up my calendar. October 14th. I scrolled back. October 7th was blank except for a single notation I didn't remember typing. Recovery Day, do not disturb. My throat closed. I couldn't breathe. I pulled open my photos. The most recent album was titled Amelia's Wedding and dated October 7th. I clicked. There I was, in the emerald dress, smiling at the camera with a champagne flute. There I was, hugging Amelia in her white gown. There I was, standing at a microphone, my mouth open mid-speech. I don't remember any of it. Not one single second. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered without thinking. Elena. The voice was smooth, cultured, with the faintest hint of a British accent. I'm calling because I need you to stay calm. My name is Dr. Alistair Finch. We've worked together extensively over the past year. You experienced a severe dissociative episode at your sister's wedding, and I've been managing your care protocol since then. I don't know who you are. My voice came out as a whisper. I understand this is disorienting. Check your bank statements. You'll see my retainer payments. Elena, I protected you. What you did at that wedding, what you discovered, it would have destroyed you. The memory suppression was medically necessary. He hung up before I could respond. With trembling fingers, I logged into my bank account. The screen loaded. My checking account balance, $847.23. Last month, it had been over $150,000. I scrolled frantically through the transactions. October 7th, wire transfer, $148,000 to Cyprus Financial Holdings LLC. Authorization code, my signature, digital and verified. In the memo line, asset protection retainer, Dr. A. Finch, advisor. I'd never heard of Cyprus Financial Holdings in my life. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted with everything? Tell me in the comments what happened. Let me take you back so you understand how I became the perfect target. I'm Elena Castellanos, 34 years old, and for the past decade, I've been what my family lovingly called their safety net. Except, there was nothing loving about it. I was a piggy bank with a pulse. It started innocently enough. I'd graduated from Northwestern with a degree in fine arts, and somehow, through a combination of actual talent and being in the right place at the right time, I'd sold 3 paintings to a corporate buyer for $30,000 each. By 25, I was making 6 figures as a commercial artist for advertising agencies in Chicago. I did the illustrations for campaigns you've definitely seen: beer ads, luxury car brochures, magazine spreads. The work paid obscenely well, even if it slowly killed the part of me that wanted to paint for myself. My family saw dollar signs. The first time was my dad. I was 26. He called me at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, his voice tight with panic. Elena, baby girl, I need help. I made a mistake. He'd gone to an underground poker game in Joliet with some guys from his construction crew. Just supposed to be a friendly thing, he said. He lost $15,000. The kind of men running that game weren't the type to accept payment plans. I paid it, wired the money that night. He cried with gratitude, promised he'd pay me back. He never did. Then it was Amelia, my little sister, 28 at the time, with champagne taste and a resume full of half-finished projects. She wanted to open a boutique in Austin. High-end sustainable fashion, she'd said over brunch at some trendy spot in Wicker Park. I just need startup capital, 40,000. I'll pay you back with interest, Ellie, I promise. This is my calling. I co-signed the loan. The boutique lasted 7 months. She blamed the location, the economy, Mercury in retrograde. I made the loan payments for 2 years until it was finally paid off. She never contributed a dime. My mom needed $8,000 for dental surgery her insurance wouldn't cover. I paid. My dad's truck broke down, $4,500 for a new transmission. I paid. My parents' 30th anniversary. I flew them to Maui. All expenses paid, $12,000. Amelia's car got repossessed. I bought her a used Honda, $18,000. Every time, they said thank you. Every time, they said they'd pay me back. Every time, I told myself this was what family did. But here's what really gutted me. They never once took my art seriously. I remember the text message exchange from 2 years ago. I'd just sold one of my personal pieces, not commercial work, but something I'd painted for myself, at a small gallery show. A watercolor of the Chicago skyline at dawn, all blues and golds. Someone paid $3,000 for it. I was floating. I texted the family group chat. Me. Guys, I sold a painting at the gallery, not a commission, one of my pieces. Mom. That's nice, honey. Dad. Amelia. Ellie, while I have you, can you Venmo me $300? I saw the cutest bag at this boutique, and my card is maxed. That was 17 minutes after my announcement. 17 minutes. I sent her the money. The pattern was so clear, but I couldn't see it. Or maybe I didn't want to. Every time I mentioned wanting to cut back on commercial work to focus on my own art, my mom would say, "That painting hobby is nice, honey, but it won't pay the bills." When I mentioned maybe taking a sabbatical to work on a gallery show, my dad said, "Must be nice to have that kind of freedom. Some of us have real responsibilities." Real responsibilities, like funding their lives. A year ago, the anxiety got bad. I was working 70-hour weeks, taking every commission that came my way, because I couldn't maintain my lifestyle and theirs on anything less. I started having panic attacks, couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I'd sit at my easel in my Lincoln Park apartment, staring at a blank canvas and feel absolutely nothing. My mom suggested I see someone. "You're always so stressed, Elena. Maybe you need to talk to a professional." She even had a recommendation. My friend Linda's daughter saw this wonderful therapist, very exclusive, Dr. Alistair Finch. He specializes in high-achieving professionals with family dynamics anxiety. I already called and got you an appointment. I should have questioned why my mother was so invested in choosing my therapist. I should have questioned a lot of things. Dr. Alistair Finch had an office in a beautiful brownstone in Gold Coast. Original hardwood floors, leather furniture, walls lined with psychology books, and framed credentials from universities I'd actually heard of. He was in his mid-50s, silver hair, expensive suit. The kind of voice that made you want to trust him immediately. "Elena, thank you for coming," he said at that first session, gesturing to the leather armchair across from his desk. "Your mother told me you've been the family's rock for quite some time. That must be exhausting. Finally, someone who got it. Over the next year, I saw him twice a month. We talked about boundaries, about resentment, about the guilt I felt for wanting to say no. He was brilliant. He never told me what to do. He just asked questions that led me to my own revelations. What would happen if you stopped being available financially? Do you think your family would love you if you had nothing to give? In session 12, he started asking about my financial planning. Elena, you're supporting an entire family ecosystem on your income. Have you thought about asset protection? What happens if something happens to you? I hadn't. He recommended I consider setting up a trust, just as a safety net. You could designate your family as beneficiaries, but protect the assets from any potential creditors or legal issues they might face. Your father's gambling, for instance. It made sense. He gave me paperwork. Standard trust documents. Just review them and sign what feels right. No pressure. I remember that session clearly, or at least, I thought I did. It was late afternoon, golden hour, light streaming through his office windows. I was exhausted from a brutal week. He had me do a relaxation exercise first. Close your eyes, Elena. Deep breaths. I'm going to guide you through a visualization to help reduce that cortisol response. His voice was so soothing. I remember feeling floaty, relaxed. He put a stack of papers in front of me. Trust documents, he said. Beneficiary forms. Just sign where you see the highlights. I'll handle filing everything. I signed. I remember doodling on the corner of one page while he droned on about tax implications. A little planet with rings, like Saturn. I always doodled when I was bored. 3 months later, Amelia got engaged to Marcus, a financial analyst she'd been dating for 8 months. The wedding planning consumed her. She called me constantly. Venue options, dress fittings. Ellie, I know I ask for a lot, but this is my wedding. You understand, right? I didn't offer money this time. She didn't ask directly, but the implications were clear. The venue deposit is killing us. I wish we could afford the photographer I really want. I stayed silent. Dr. Finch would have been proud. Then October 7th came. According to my phone, I drove to the venue, a restored barn in Barrington. I have the GPS history. According to my photos, I was there for 6 hours. According to everyone, I gave a beautiful toast. According to my memory, none of it exists. For 3 days after that phone call with my mother, I existed in a fog of terror and confusion. I couldn't go to work. I couldn't eat. I sat in my apartment surrounded by printed bank statements, phone records, and photos from a wedding I couldn't remember attending. I called Dr. Finch back 17 times, straight to voicemail. I drove to his office. The building was there, but the nameplate that had read Dr. Alistair Finch, PsyD, was gone. A real estate agent was showing the space to potential renters. Been vacant for 2 weeks, she told me. I called my family. Every conversation was the same. You're scaring us. Elena, maybe you should see someone. Are you having a breakdown? My sister actually said, "This is just like you, making my wedding about your drama." I almost believed I was losing my mind. Almost. Then I started packing. I'd been meaning to move to a bigger apartment for months. Something with better light for painting. I'd packed up my home office the week before the wedding that I couldn't remember. The boxes were still stacked in my second bedroom, waiting to be unpacked. I opened one labeled Desk Misc and started pulling out folders. Old tax returns, receipts, Then I found a leather portfolio I'd used to carry documents to Dr. Finch's office. Inside was a notepad, the kind you get from hotel conferences, cheap and branded with some pharmaceutical company's logo. I flipped through it. Old grocery lists, appointment reminders. Then I saw it. My handwriting, Session 12, Trust Docs. And beneath it, filling the margin, were doodles. Lots of doodles, flowers, geometric shapes. And there, in the bottom right corner, a tiny detailed planet with rings. 3 rings, with careful shading. I'd added a small moon and some stars around it. My heart stopped. I grabbed my laptop and pulled up the wire transfer authorization my bank had sent me. It was a PDF, officially notarized. I zoomed in on the signature page. There, in the corner of the document where most people would never look, partially covered by the digital notary stamp, was a mark. I enhanced the image, adjusted the contrast. It was my Saturn doodle. Identical. 3 rings, same shading, same little moon, same stars. The document was time-stamped, April 3rd, 2:47 p.m. I checked my records. Session 12 with Drs. Finch, April 3rd, 3:30 p.m. I hadn't signed trust documents. I'd signed wire transfer authorizations, while I was in some kind of altered state in his office. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely type, but I pulled up the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation website. I searched the license verification database. Alistair Finch? Psychology. Enter. No results found. I tried variations. A. Finch. Alistair Finch. Nothing. I expanded to financial advisors, investment advisors. Nothing. I called the licensing board directly. The woman who answered was kind but firm. Ma'am, we have no record of anyone by that name ever being licensed in Illinois for psychology, psychiatry, counseling, or financial services. What about other states? My voice was breaking. I can check. Keys clicking. No, ma'am. No licenses, active or inactive, under that name in our national database. Dr. Alistair Finch didn't exist, at least not as a licensed anything. But here's what did exist. That doodle. That stupid little Saturn doodle was time-stamped, digitally verified proof that I'd signed that document during a therapy session where I was clearly not in a normal state of mind. And I had the original notepad, with the same doodle, with the session notes in my handwriting. It was checkmate. I grabbed my phone and opened a new note. I started typing everything I knew, every detail, every transaction, every session. I screenshotted the license search showing no results. I photographed the notepad from every angle. I documented the timeline. Then I opened my email and found every single message from Dr. Finch. I deleted most of them. He'd encouraged that. For privacy. But I had one left. An appointment reminder from 6 months ago. The email address, afinch@cypressfinancialholdings.com. Cypress Financial Holdings, the LLC that had my $148,000. My therapist and my financial advisor were the same fake person, and I could prove it. I didn't sleep that night. By sunrise, I'd built a case file that would make a prosecutor weep with joy. I had everything organized in a digital folder, backed up in 3 locations: timeline, bank records, license verification, the notepad, the doodle comparison, email correspondence, session payment receipts. At 8:47 a.m., I opened my email and composed a message. The recipient list: finch@cypressfinancialholdings.com, mom.castellanos@yagmail.com, dad.castellanos@agmail.com, amelia.castellanos@agmail.com. Subject line: 48 hours. Body: Return every cent. I attached a high-resolution scan of the notepad page with my Saturn doodle and the matching signature page from the wire transfer. Then I attached the screenshot from the Illinois licensing board. I hit send and felt nothing. No anger, no fear. Just cold, crystalline clarity. My phone started ringing within minutes. Mom first. I didn't answer. Dad. Ignored. Amelia, 3 times in a row. Ignored. Then a number I didn't recognize. I answered. Elena Castellanos. Elena. It was him. Dr. Finch. His smooth voice had a jagged edge now. That email was very unwise. You're clearly experiencing a severe psychiatric crisis. What you think you remember about our sessions. You're not a licensed therapist. You're not a licensed anything. And I have proof you forged my authorization while I was under some kind of sedation or hypnotic state in your office. Silence. Then, you signed those documents voluntarily. With a doodle that proves I was in your office, not in my right mind, signing papers I thought were something else entirely. That's fraud. That's theft. That's probably a dozen other felonies I haven't looked up yet. Your family needed. My family needed. Try again. His voice changed. Colder. Elena, you're not thinking clearly. I'm going to do what's best for your welfare. I'm calling for a wellness check. You're a danger to yourself. He hung up. 20 minutes later, my apartment buzzer rang. I checked the camera. 2 Chicago PD officers. Here's the thing about being organized. It saves you. I buzzed them up, opened my door, and stood there in jeans and a Northwestern sweatshirt holding a file folder. Ms. Castellanos? The older officer, gray-haired with tired eyes, looked uncomfortable. We received a call about a wellness check. Someone reported you might be experiencing a mental health crisis. Let me guess. Dr. Alistair Finch? They exchanged glances. The younger officer nodded. He said he's your therapist and you're having delusions about fraud. Come in, officers. I want to show you something. I sat them down at my kitchen table and opened the folder. I walked them through everything, calmly, logically. The unlicensed therapist, the wire transfer, the doodle evidence, the timeline. I showed them the email I'd sent that morning. He called you because I have proof he stole $148,000 from me, I said. This wasn't a wellness check. This was intimidation. The older officer leaned back and sighed. Ms. Castellanos, you seem perfectly lucid to me. And this, he tapped the folder. This looks like fraud. You should file a police report. Can I do that right now? You can do it at the station, or I can have a detective call you. Given the amount and the interstate component, this LLC is probably registered in Delaware or Nevada. This is going to involve financial crimes. The younger officer was already on his radio. We're going to need a detective for potential wire fraud. They left after an hour. I had a case number and a detective's contact information. Detective Sarah Kowalski, Financial Crimes Unit. She'd call me Monday morning. I spent the weekend building my case even stronger. I found Dr. Finch's office lease records. He'd used a fake business license. I found 3 other people on a therapy review site who'd mentioned seeing Dr. Finch and then having mysterious financial problems. I screenshot everything. Monday morning, 9:03 a.m., Detective Kowalski called. We spoke for 90 minutes. She asked me to email everything. Ms. Castellanos, I'm going to be honest with you. This is one of the most well-documented fraud cases I've ever seen from a victim. Usually we're trying to piece together evidence. You've built our entire case. I'm a commercial artist, I said. Attention to detail is kind of my thing. I can see that. I'm forwarding this to the FBI. Wire fraud over $100,000, unlicensed practice, possible hypnotic sedation without consent. This is federal. But I'm also filing state charges today. We'll get a warrant for his financial records. There's one more thing, I said. I think my family was in on it. I told her about my mother recommending Dr. Finch, about the years of financial support, about the wedding I couldn't remember. Do you think the wedding was staged? Like, to keep you disoriented? No, the wedding happened. I think something happened there. Something that made me realize what was going on, and he did something to make me forget. When you came in on October 7th, were you agitated, according to your family? I don't know. They won't talk to me now except to say I'm crazy. We'll find out, Detective Kowalski said. In the meantime, don't respond to any contact from Finch or your family. Let me handle this. But I had one more move to make. I filed formal complaints with the American Psychological Association and the Illinois Department of Professional Regulation for unlicensed practice. I also submitted a tip to the Securities and Exchange Commission about Cyprus Financial Holdings operating as an unlicensed investment advisor. Then I hired a lawyer. Not just any lawyer, a former federal prosecutor who specialized in white-collar crime. Her name was Simone Chen, and her consultation fee alone was $800, worth every penny. Elena, she said, reviewing my file in her loop office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan. You're not just going to get your money back. You're going to bury this man. And possibly your family, depending on what discovery reveals. Good, I said. 2 weeks later, the FBI executed search warrants on Cyprus Financial Holdings' registered agent in Delaware and Dr. Finch's actual apartment in Evanston. Turns out his real name was Alex Fincher, and he had a record. Wire fraud in Nevada, 2015. Unlicensed practice in California, 2018. He'd changed his name and moved to Illinois to start fresh. They found records. Lots of records, including communications with my mother dating back 14 months before I'd ever heard of Dr. Finch. Subject line from my mother's email: Elena's financial situation, how to proceed. My mother had hired him. She'd told him everything about my income, my assets, my guilt complex. They'd planned the whole thing together. The therapy was just access. And my father and sister? The subpoenaed text messages told the story. Family group chat, without me. Mom: Finch got the transfer done, $148K, minus his 30% cut. We split the rest like discussed. Amelia: Finally, she's been holding out on helping with the wedding anyway. Dad: About time she paid us back for raising her. Paid them back. For raising me. 1 year later. It's October again, and I'm standing in my art gallery in West Loop. Not a gallery where I show my work. My gallery. The space I own. Castellanos Contemporary is printed in elegant silver letters on the glass door. The walls are covered with my paintings. Not commercial illustrations. My paintings. Watercolors of Chicago at different times of day. Oil paintings of Lake Michigan in every season, abstract pieces that came from the rage and pain of last year, all dark reds and blacks and sharp edges. Every single piece sold at my opening last month. I have a waiting list of buyers. The legal aftermath of that October took months, but the ending was everything I'd needed. Alex Fincher, Dr. Alistair Finch, is currently serving 8 years in federal prison for wire fraud, identity theft, and unlicensed practice. The FBI found 11 other victims once they started digging. People he'd treated and then systematically robbed. My case broke it open. My doodle was Exhibit A in the trial. I got my $148,000 back, plus damages, plus the $102,000 he'd already started spending. Turns out you can't spend stolen money and then claim poverty when it's time to pay restitution. My family faced a choice: cooperate with prosecution and accept civil judgment, or face criminal conspiracy charges. They chose cooperation. My mother testified against Fincher. She cried on the stand and said she'd only wanted to help secure my financial future by having me work with a financial professional. The judge didn't buy it. They were ordered to pay restitution for their shares, $89,000 combined. They had to sell their house in Madison. My father declared bankruptcy. Amelia and Marcus are living in a one-bedroom apartment in Schaumburg. Last I heard, she's working retail. The wedding I couldn't remember? My memory came back about 3 months into therapy with an actual, licensed, vetted psychologist. Dr. Rachel Okonkwo is amazing, and she helped me recover what Fincher had stolen. Not just money, but that entire day. I'd discovered the fraud at the reception. I'd checked my bank account on my phone because Amelia had made another comment about money. Something like, "At least you can afford to be generous with your only sister." And I'd noticed the transfer. $148,000 gone to Cyprus Financial Holdings. I'd confronted them. All of them. Right there, in front of 200 wedding guests. I'd pulled up the evidence on my phone and screamed at my mother, "You hired a fake therapist to steal from me?" My mother had gone white. Amelia had tried to laugh it off. "Elena, you're being dramatic. It's my wedding." You knew. You all knew. This whole time, I thought I was helping family. I was being robbed. Security tried to calm me down. I was hysterical. Dr. Finch had been there. Of course he had. He was family friend by then, and he'd pulled me aside. "Elena, you're having an episode. Come with me. I have something in my car that will help." I was so disoriented, so betrayed, that I'd followed him. He'd given me something, a pill, dissolved under my tongue. "Just to calm you down. We'll sort this out." I woke up the next day in my apartment with no memory of the wedding at all. The photos on my phone, the recovery day note on my calendar that I'd never written. He'd drugged me, Rohypnol or something similar, enough to cause anterograde amnesia. Then he'd taken me home, put me to bed, and spent the next week gaslighting me into thinking I was losing my mind. When the full memory came back in Dr. Okonkwo's office, I sobbed for an hour straight. Not because of what they'd done. I'd already known that intellectually. But because I'd been right. I'd discovered it. I'd tried to fight. And they'd literally drugged me into silence. Dr. Okonkwo held my hand and said, "Elena, you survived. And you won. Never forget that." The story made local news. Local artist exposes multi-victim fraud ring. My family became pariahs in Madison. My mother lost her position on the church council. My father's construction buddies stopped calling. Amelia's Instagram went dark. I don't feel sorry for them. I feel free. My gallery opening last month was packed. I invited everyone except my family. Friends I'd lost touch with while I was busy funding other people's lives. Colleagues from my commercial art days. New artists I'd met in the past year. Dr. Okonkwo came. So did Detective Kowalski and Simone Chen, my lawyer. 2 second acts, Simone said, raising a glass of champagne. "To justice," Detective Kowalski added. "To healing," Dr. Okonkwo said softly. I raised my own glass and looked around my gallery, my space, my art, my money, my life. "To freedom," I said, and I meant it. I don't talk to my family anymore. They've tried. Emails, texts, letters. Mom wants to explain her side. Amelia says she didn't understand what Finch was really doing. Dad says I should let it go because we're family. But here's what I learned. Family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up for you without expecting payment. It's about who celebrates your dreams instead of dismissing them. It's about trust that doesn't come with a price tag. My real family now is the community I've built at this gallery, the artists I mentor, the collectors who see value in my work beyond its dollar amount, the friends who asked me how I was doing without following up with a request for money. Last week, a young woman came into the gallery. She looked at my abstract piece, the one that's all dark reds and blacks, the one I painted the week after I filed the police report, and she started crying. "I'm sorry," she said, wiping her eyes. "It's just this painting. It feels like rage and survival at the same time." "That's exactly what it is," I told her. She bought it, paid in full. As I was wrapping it for her, she said quietly, "My family stole from me too. Not money, something else. But they stole who I was supposed to be." I stopped and looked at her. Really looked at her. She was maybe 25, with old eyes. "Did you get it back?" I asked. "I'm trying to," she said. I wrote my personal email on the back of a business card and handed it to her. "When you need to talk to someone who understands, reach out." "Really?" She clutched the card like it was a lifeline. "Thank you." That's what this year has taught me. The best revenge isn't just taking back what's yours. It's becoming so fully yourself that their theft becomes irrelevant. It's building something so beautiful from the ashes that the fire that tried to destroy you becomes just a footnote in your origin story. Alex Fincher stole $148,000 from me. My family betrayed 15 years of love and support. But I'm standing in my own gallery, surrounded by my own art, living my own dream. They lost everything. I gained myself. That's the real payoff. For more stories about taking your power back, make sure you subscribe. You're not alone in this.